Welcome to the second news of the day video. I'm wearing a Montreal Canadiens All-Star jersey. Got it from Ben H Sports, so just throw that out there. And Jeff Petry's contract kicks in next year, 4-year extension at $25 million overall, up to $6.25 million a year. Signing bonuses, there's none in 2021. There's a $3 million signing bonus for the 2 years after. $2 million signing bonus after that, so $8 million in signing bonuses in this contract. Not too shabby. And his base salary won't be too bad either. Now, what happens is he's going from $5.5 to $6.25 million. So that's an extra $750,000 a year. The interesting thing is, if my math's correct on this, he's signed through age 37. So he's likely going to finish out his career as a member of the Montreal Canadiens. And it shows how Montreal is not looking at renting anybody out. And so next up, do they sit down with Tomas Tatar and say, hey, we want to work on an extension with him as well? It is there is some risk in this. I'm just going to say straight out, there is some risk to this contract because Petry is a really good defenseman, and at $5.5 million, he has definitely given them full value for that contract to this point. But in a league that keeps getting younger, there is the danger that he loses a step. There is the danger that the contract ends up being a little bit expensive for them at a time where guys like Suzuki are going to get paid, maybe Romanov's going to get paid. But Montreal does keep him around, and the no movement clause means that, yeah, he's going to be protected next year from Seattle. He's got in this contract a modified no trade as well, where he can submit 15 teams he will not allow himself to be traded to if Montreal wants to trade him. So, yeah, that's going to be interesting. But again, with the no movement clause, he is in complete control of this. He had no movement clause in his current contract as well, which of course runs through the end of the 2020-2021 season. So congratulations to Jeff Petry on coming out with a raise during a time where most of the economy's not. And this is where, I've said with sports, the sporting world, and with broadcasters as well, they're in a whole other universe where they're like, yeah, this isn't going to last. This isn't, we're going to go back to business as usual. And we'll see whether or not this works out for the teams, the players, and broadcasters as well, because it's all intertwined in the economy of sports. Paul MacLean, I don't normally report on assistant coaches, and I try, and it's because there's so many assistant coaches that get hired. But I have to say, Paul MacLean being hired by the Toronto Maple Leafs, seeing him behind a Toronto bench is going to be weird. And yet it shows that the Toronto Maple Leafs realized that in their loss to Columbus, they kind of got out coached. So you don't want to replace Sheldon Keefe, but by bringing in Manny Malhotra, by bringing in Paul MacLean, you bring in Malhotra, one of the more promising younger coaches in the league. And with MacLean, he's got the experience. He's done it before, and he's done it in Ontario in a Canadian market. So MacLean hired as an assistant coach. I think it's a smart move by Toronto. Again, you're not going to fire Keefe so soon after hiring him, but you will look at maybe moving around people that are next to him and trying to change the environment a little bit. So all the best to Paul MacLean. And he's one of the best interviews in hockey. He is right up there with Tortorella in terms of his ability to have an interview that you're talking about the next day and maybe a week or a month or a year later. So yeah, MacLean's been hired. Ottawa on the board. And of course, I used the old logo, which is now the new logo. The one that, if I'd used it last year, people said, why are you using the old logo? And now it's, he's using the new logo, which is also the old. Anyway, Craig Anderson will not be wearing that logo in the new year with the new team. He's going to test the market. Now at age 39, and after what was a statistically poor season by his standards, he's probably going to have to take one of those show me contracts where a team gives him maybe $1.5 million, and he's basically looked at as the backup. So we'll see what happens. Honestly, Anderson, to me, if Winnipeg feels like they could handle 1 year with Anderson and then kick that can down the road of who's going to be the pure backup in Winnipeg, maybe it works there. But because I don't know that they bring Brossoit back, but we'll see, right? I think there'll be some interest, but again, if Anderson's going to play, it's probably not going to be for anywhere near the amount of money that he was making in Ottawa up until this year. Speaking of goaltenders, Alex Lyon has signed a 1-year, $700,000 contract. it's notable in that Philadelphia right now would see him as probably being the backup if the season was to start tomorrow. Carter Hart be the backup, Lyon may be the back, or Carter Hart the starter, Lyon the backup, possibly. And he's definitely, put in the work. He's been a member of the Philadelphia organization for a while. I think they could do worse. So, $700K contract for him. Congratulations to him on that. And I just wanted to close out on this as well because there's a lot of talk about this today. Rick Bowness won't say whether or not he's going to play Dobin on back-to-backs tonight and tomorrow. Well, you're not going to play Ottinger tonight because if you lose Game 4, you're done. So you have to go with your best goaltender, who's Dobin. And tomorrow, if you're down 3-1, you're going to play Dobin because it's probably your last game anyways. And if it's a 2-2 series tie, you're not going to go away from Dobin when you only have 2 losses to give anyways. As far as I can see, it has to be Dobin and back-to-backs. Tampa Bay, if they're up 3-1, they could go to McElhinney in Game 5, but do you really want McElhinney on the ice? Like, I could see a situation where Tampa Bay would have McElhinney on the ice for a couple of shifts in a game just so that he has some stats in the playoffs along with his name being on the cup. But in general, I don't think there's any reason to think that either team is going to switch goalies on back-to-backs. I understand Dobin's tired. I understand this is the most work he's put in his entire career in such a short period of time. But he's going to want to play. And he's going to want to play a lot. So, yeah, Dobin will play both games. But act surprised when it happens. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you're a Montreal fan, how do you feel about the Petry extension? And, hey, Montreal, they're not kidding around here. Whether we like or dislike the contract, it is a sign that Bergevin means business, and there won't be renting guys out at next year's deadline. Let me know your thoughts. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.